What is going on, guys? I am Jaye the Black. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about NFL running back Adrian Peterson. I actually made a video about him, I believe it was early last year, and I talked about how he had financial issues going back then. This was a guy who has now played in the NFL for 14 seasons. He's made over $100 million throughout his career, and he's in a very awkward financial situation. Now, I also recently made a video about an NHL player by the name of Evander Kane, and I talked about his financial situation and how his is a lot worse right now than Adrian Peterson, I believe, because I think that Adrian Peterson, what he owes can be paid back. I would say payment plans, he probably has that in assets, probably has money put away, and his debts are going to be handled, but he can't get out of his own way. But with Evander Kane, he is a guy who is in a very terrible financial situation. But getting back to Adrian Peterson, there were a number of articles written about Adrian Peterson, all right? But I'm going to read the one on the ESPN.com, and some very interesting things they put in here. He now has been ordered to pay an $8.3 million loan to a company in New York, all right? So the Detroit Lions running back Adrian Peterson has been ordered to pay almost $8.3 million in summary judgment to a Pennsylvania loan company after a defaulted loan in 2016. The New York State Supreme Court records show D'Angelo Vehicle Sales LLC and Peterson in 2018 after the running back failed to pay back an initial sum of $5.2 million, including interest, by March 1st of 2017, including interest in 2018 when the case was filed in the New York Supreme Court. DVS asked for $6 million and then continued interest for every day he didn't pay. That was over 2 years ago. On Wednesday, DVS asked for $8 million or $8.2 million, which includes interest of $2,000 per day on the loan that has not been repaid. The interest, which had been 16%, will be lowered to 9%, which is New York State law going forward. In the initial settlement agreement, Peterson had notarized on October 22nd of 2019. Peterson acknowledged the existence and continuation of his default under the loan and the applicable loan document, and that Peterson's obligation under the loan is immediately due and payable. He's also was scheduled to make $50,000 payments October 18th and October 31st of 2019, along with a $2.2 million payment November 11th of 2019, and then the final $25,000 payment within 10 days of his option being picked up by the Washington football team in 2020. But he did not pay that back. And here we are with Adrian Peterson. I make these videos as a cautionary tale about guys who have everything, right? People want to talk about how, these are rich people problems. It doesn't affect us. Yeah, you might be right. But being rich didn't stop Adrian Peterson from having financial issues. It hasn't stopped other athletes or entertainers from having financial issues. These guys just do not know how to manage their money. And this is a guy who's been in the league for over 14 years. He's 35 years old. This is somebody who you would think would put the right people around him, but Adrian does what Adrian wants to do. Adrian was in a situation where he had disciplined his his son, right? And the baby's mother, I guess, pressed charges against him, and he had to sit out basically a whole season. He didn't get paid. And even after that, he still talks about how he disciplines his son. I mean, that's his son. He can discipline his kids however he wants to discipline them. I'm not here to tell people how to run their household. But Adrian Peterson is the type of guy who's going to do whatever he wants to do. Even when you see him on social media, you would think he has no problems in the world. But again, they're not going to share everything. So, we can't ask them to speak on everything if they, don't want to, right? But I just feel like he's somebody that he does not want to pay back these people that he owed. And he doesn't feel like he should have to pay them back anything. I think he truly believes that he doesn't have to pay some. I mean, especially at this particular moment, because I think he thinks the money's always going to be there. And that's just not reality. A lot of these athletes, they play for years thinking that money is going to roll in. But once your, career is done and that money isn't coming in, most times they end up going to go work, for one of these networks. They end up on TV. And that's usually because they have to continue the lifestyle that they have. There are guys who are able to walk away. They're able to walk away and do things outside of their particular sports, right? But I feel like when you have people like Adrian Peterson, who's football, they only thinking about the now. They only thinking about what can I get now? What can I do now? The money's gonna keep going in. It's gonna keep coming in. This is why I'm gonna be in my mid-30s still playing running back. Running back is a very tough position to play. A lot of running backs don't last after 30. It's very rare that they get to 35 too. You don't see that. But I feel like Adrian, he has a love for the game, but he also has bills to pay. He leads a lifestyle that I believe is very exorbitant. I think he spends a lot. I think he has spent just as much that has come in. He's made over $100 million throughout his career. And especially that was early in his career. Now he's in a situation where you have to cut back some of that. You can't keep taking out these loans to take care of other loans or to, fund your lifestyle. You're going to have to cut back. And that's why you have to look at the people around these guys. Are the people around these guys being honest with them? Is there honesty there? Because I'm not seeing it. I think they're around a lot of people that have their hands out. Now again, he does have, not only does he have, a child with his current wife, he has a child outside that, and he had another one. That was a situation that occurred where that child lost their life due to the baby's mother's boyfriend. But he has children that he's taking care of. Okay, that is the most important thing. I just think that Adrian's somebody that's gonna do what he wants to do. I'm not saying he's hard-headed, but even if he's getting good advice about his finances, will he listen? I noticed that mostly in the melanated community, we don't have financial literacy. We don't practice it. We spend more than we make, and we think that nothing is wrong with that. Now, I'm not making this video just to go at Adrian. Just if he watches this or any of his people watch this, this is a cautionary tale, again, for people who are looking at this. You have to save money. Are you saving? Are you investing? Are you cutting back from living too much of an expensive lifestyle? Or you're just used to something and you don't want to let it go? Is this why you're 35 and you're still playing running back in the NFL? You haven't looked for an exit strategy. You can't play football forever. At some point, you're going to have to walk away. Do you have a plan? Are you going to work on TV? Are you, again, investing? Do you have any business startups that you feel like is going to take off? That's going to be able to bring in the revenue that's going to help supplement you? That's what you have to look at. Now, again, those things could be in the works, but he's a 35-year-old running back. He's been playing NFL with him 14 years. And he's in a debt-wise, he's not in the best situation. Now, his situation is a lot easier than the situation I spoke about Evander Kane, because I believe he may have the money to come in, or he has the money on him to pay his creditors. He doesn't have as many creditors, but it's all about choices. And it seems to me that he's not choosing to pay these people back. He may have the money and just don't want to give it to them. And again, he's not going to make as much money now. He made $1 million, I believe, with the Lions last season. They only made like $1 million. He's not making that high dollar amount that he made early in his career with the Minnesota Vikings. So he's going to have to come up with some plan to pay these people back. Now, what he owes, $8 million, that's a lot of money. But it is doable to be able to pay them back. And I believe he needs to focus on that and focus on an exit strategy outside of football, because you can't play football forever. I know that you're used to it. It's good money. But at some point, you're going to have to walk away from that. Teams are not going to call you. Teams are going to stop calling you. Adrian Peterson is one of the best running backs I've ever seen in the NFL and in college. I think he's probably the best running back I've seen in college. And he carried it over into the NFL. But now he looks like he's hanging on. And that's very unfortunate. But hopefully he gets out of this situation and he's able to move forward. Because being in debt like that for somebody who's made as much as he's made, that's really not good. And it is very much so a cautionary story.